Everybody, welcome back to Off the Wall. I'm Mike.
And I'm Sol.
All right, we're reviewing what is easily one of the most potentially pointless movies that's going to come out this year. That is Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which is a sequel to the 2019 Shazam movie, again starring Zachary Levi, directed by David F. Sandberg. It takes place in the still yet to be reset until the Flash comes out version of the DCU. Who's to say what kind of part this is going to play going forward? I think there are some things about it that could potentially set up for something bigger, but it all depends on what sticks after the Flash comes out. We both saw it this weekend. Sol, what did you think?
I enjoyed this movie a lot. There's moments that I legitimately was laughing out loud, especially like Helen Mirren reading that note that's written by the
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
that was really good. Grade A acting by Helen Mirren there.
That was excellent.
And there's definitely moments that this is not a perfect film by any means, but it was fun. It kind of existed in its own space, kind of like the first movie, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one. It's not my favorite by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But it is far from the worst thing I've seen. It's far from the worst thing DC's ever put out. That's Gotham Knights. Oh, wow. There were like, I think 2 moments in particular in this movie that I genuinely rolled my eyes pretty hard. Because the level of disconnect they were expecting me to have to allow certain things was just kind of like, that's a little much for me. I can only forgive so much, but ultimately I laughed a lot watching this movie. And I think I was telling a buddy of mine, I said, if you've ever watched Batman, the Brave and the Bold, the kind of campy animated series from a few years ago, it's kind of in the same vein as that, just in live action movie form. Like this movie knows what it is. It's not trying to be anything more than what it is. And it kind of just lives, for the most part, in that happy medium of silly, fantastical that you need to make Shazam work.
And you definitely had some moments that, like, you could see on, like, just like a DC poster in your room when he's, spoiler alert, fighting a dragon.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we should probably we're just gonna, like, just so there's no,
Yeah.
you haven't seen it, maybe go watch it.
When it's literally dark sky, lightning, slow-mo punches a dragon in the face. I'm like, this is DC.
Pretty excellent. It was, I think I remember being in the theater when he gets that first punch right in that dragon's jaw. I was just like, yes. It was so satisfying to watch because that dragon, tell you what, that dragon's cool looking.
Yeah, the dragon is very
dragon.
Cool. And Lucy Liu just riding a dragon, being a badass. Come on.
Yeah. I kind of want to get the negative stuff out of the way first because I don't want to end on a negative note. I kind of want to talk about stuff that frustrated me first. First of all, screw you, Skittles. Holy crap.
Taste the rainbow.
That was one of the things that made me roll my eyes. I was like, I get it. I know the studio's struggling for money right now. I know they probably needed to make some kind of business deal to get a little extra funding. That's fine. Woof, that was bad. It was fine that they were
plot line.
It's fine that they were eating Skittles. The unicorn thing was amazing. I didn't need the little girl to say "taste the rainbow," taste the rainbow, motherfuckers. Basically, even though she got off right at the end, I didn't need that. Also, and this is we'll probably get more into this when we get more into the plot, but Wonder Woman was so ham-fisted into this thing. It was like, it's not even subtle. Like was it a cool sequence? Yeah. Did it make any sense whatsoever? None.
Was it in all the TV spots before the movie came out? Yes.
So yeah, because someone screwed up. Basically, somebody put a trailer out there with this shot of her boots in it, and everyone's like, "Hey, what?" And then they were like, "Well, shit. Now we gotta." I think that would have landed a lot better had I not known it was coming. But it still didn't work in terms of like she's just there.
Yeah.
And but anyway, those are kind of my two biggest like glaring issues. Everything else I had a problem with this movie is kind of nitpicky. Um, what were there any like big glaring ones for you before we get into the kind of the nitpicks?
Well, the Skittles wasn't really a big glaring one. That one I would put more on nitpicky on my side. I was like, product placement. Like,
We all know how I feel about product placements.
yeah. um, so even when she said taste the rainbow, I did get a little giggle. Like, even though I'm like, this is fucking stupid as I'm laughing.
Like, I was like, this is objectively funny, but also fuck you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the Wonder Woman stuff, definitely, I was just like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Like, it would be funny if the only Wonder Woman part was his dream and Djimon Hounsou coming through as Wonder Woman.
Would have been
That
great.
was perfect.
If that had been it, if that had been the entirety of the Wonder Woman cameo, I would have
Right,
had no problems with it whatsoever.
right. But the fact that I literally because World Baseball Classics, they're showing the TV spots, and it literally has the scene at the very end with Wonder Woman in the TV spot.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't give the context of why she's there, but then again,
yeah,
neither does the movie really, because
right.
she's just there and then she's not.
And then even though I love that Freddie is getting his like little love interest, and at the very beginning with him and Rachel Zegler's character Anne, I was like, this is adorable. Like up until the point where you find out that she's one of Atlas's daughters, and then every kind of moment with her feels a little off.
Everything to do with Freddie and Anne could have been cut from this movie and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Exactly.
It has no bearing other than just to move the plot line along while
Yeah.
Freddie's being held captive. But in terms of the grand scheme of this movie, it bears no weight. You
Yeah.
could honestly, and this kind of goes to kind of my nitpickier thing, which is kind of this underlying theme with this movie is that Billy is really anxious because he's about to turn 18 and
Yeah.
age out of the foster system. He thinks the family's going to get rid of him because that's all he knows. We spend so little time addressing this.
Right. I would have
And
loved to address that more.
especially because there's this big emotional moment towards the end when he finally calls her mom and he's like, hey, listen, it's okay if you guys want to get rid of me. I understand. And she was like, why would we? What are you talking about? And the moment where she's like, let me see my Billy before you go and save the world. All of those moments, while they are nice, would have felt a lot more in my heart if we had spent any time addressing that. Like it's brought up in passing at the beginning and we never mention it again until the end.
Yeah, I agree with that. And because you do, like, if you're paying attention to the movie, like in the first movie and in the second one, like he just calls her Rosa the whole time. So to finally like get him calling her mom, I was like, I will admit, I teared up a little, like not gonna lie.
A little bit.
But I was like, I would be bawling if we developed this more in the movie.
Yeah. I feel like I really like this movie and I love everybody who's playing the heroes and the kids. You spend almost no time with them in kid form in this movie, other than Freddy. Like the kid that plays Billy is barely in the movie.
And he's so good.
He's a very good young actor. Like all these kids, like I try so hard to not be mean when it comes to kid actors. All of the kids in this movie are great. They are all great, and they are barely, with the exception of the girl playing Mary, Grace Curry, who plays her in young form and adult form, because she's like the actress is like 26.
Yeah.
She's the oldest of all of them.
Which I think in the first movie it was two different actors, but in this movie it's the same one. Yeah.
So it was two different actors, and then because they had a different actress playing adult her. but she played her. So it's the same girl that played young Mary.
Yeah.
And then they had a different actress playing older Mary. And that which leads me to a small bit of a plot issue with this, which is they're on TV all the time. She doesn't change. She
Yeah.
so at no point did they look at the
Well,
news?
It's a Superman thing.
Yeah, but at least he puts on glasses. She's the same, and at no point watch all this footage where the
Different
parents are
outfit.
like, I kind of got okay.
I think though, because mostly you see Shazam and then you
Yeah.
see Freddy on TV, like, and everyone else is kind of like in passing, and hers is like super speed. So I don't think
Yeah.
she, unlike her younger siblings, because she's an adult, she's already aged out of the foster system, and she's a full-on fledged adult. Like I think she's like 19 or 20 years old in the movie, like her character. And so she's not looking for fame and fortune. She's just wanting to help people. Whereas I think, yeah, where I think like you see very much Freddie is like, even like picking up those two chicks at the beginning, like, which was really funny. That because him in his regular form, he's has a disability. He's not the cool kid. He's made fun of at school. So the fact when he is a superhero that people look up to him, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna be center of attention because that's not what he gets as real life Freddy.
Yeah.
So you see that where I feel because she's an adult, she's more confident in herself and who she is, that she doesn't have to be like, yo, what's up?
Yeah.
On
But
TV.
like I said, I'm nitpicking. It also was kind of weird that she was like, I didn't go to college because you didn't want me to.
Yeah, that was weird.
Then why are you studying? If you're not in college, why are you studying biology?
Lifelong learner, Mike.
I mean, I guess, but then I guess by the end of it, she's just suddenly in college now. And I was like, that's not how the application process works.
She could have already she could have applied behind his back.
I did like that the parents know now, mostly because I love the no Shazamming indoors
yes
that we get, which is great.
Yes.
I will say again, just trying to get all the negative stuff out of the way. The post-credit scenes are a complete waste.
That second post-credit, I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
The first one, when they both walk away, I was like, oh, this really means nothing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one, it's like Dr. Sylvana is already not a well-known supervillain in DC.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was.
Well, he's Mr. Mind, Dr. Sylvana is the bad guy from the first one. And then Mr. Mind, who's the little caterpillar dude. If Dr. Sylvana is a D-list supervillain, Mr. Mind is like a Q list. Like he is, nobody knows who. Was the scene funny? Yeah, the scene was hilarious. It means nothing.
The funny thing is though, like I was just like, who is this villain? I didn't even remember him from the first movie because I didn't rewatch. So I was like, who is this person? But I did remember the worm from the first movie. So I was just like, oh, I remember that guy. What is going on here?
I rewatched the movie Friday.
I did it.
I saw this, so I kind of had a little bit fresh in my mind. But yeah, I feel like just like I think not act 2, but like the second half of this movie crushes. As soon as we're like, okay, here's the crisis, we're gonna deal with it. It's awesome. I think the first half is just where it's a little. What we got wasn't that it was bad. It didn't need to be there. I feel like you could have removed the Freddie Ann stuff, worked in the Billy family stuff.
Yeah.
And it just would have made the movie as a whole. Because honestly, the first half of the movie really isn't Billy's movie. It's Freddie's movie. And then the second half is mostly Billy Shazam and Freddie. So I feel like they were looking at the movie. I feel like there's like a 2.5 hour version of this movie that has all the Billy family stuff in there. And they were like, well, we got to cut one of these out. And unfortunately, the Freddie stuff deals with the plot.
Yeah. And we paid money for Rachel Zegler.
And we paid money for Rachel Zegler, who was great. I mean, I will also say, I think you could have cut out. I think you didn't need Helen Mirren.
her in the movie.
She was fantastic. I actually had
I
very low
love
expectations. She was great.
I think I actually, and maybe this is like the rule of three kind of thing, that I kind of like the fact that you have the three sisters and you
Yeah.
have one who is basically the good sister, which is
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler as Anne. And then you have the one that's the evil sister, which is Lucy Liu.
Mhm.
And the like, fuck humans. I'm not gonna get
So
this a seed to fix my world. I'm gonna get this seed to fuck up their world. And
yeah.
Helen Mirren is kind of in the middle between, like, she's still fuck humans, but she wants to save her world more than get
Helen
back
Mirren's
at
there to do the
humans.
job. She's there to
Yeah,
do the job we've been told to do.
yeah,
And Calypso is more like, I'm gonna do it the way I want to do it.
exactly.
But ultimately, just looking at how it ends up playing out, like, it didn't. The movie honestly feels like I think there's just too damn many characters in this movie, because we've got all 6 of the Shazam family, plus Shazam himself, the wizard, plus 3 villains, uh, plus all the supporting characters, like with the parents and all that. I feel like it was a little. This movie either needed to be longer and paced differently, or shorter and a lot of the fat trimmed off, because it was just such a physically big movie for a relatively small story that it was trying to tell.
For me on that end, it's because we've seen movies where there's multiple characters and done really well, like a la Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So for me, it wasn't that there was too many characters, because even like some of the Shazam family, like the other, like they have their little moments here and there, like one of the brothers is gay, and like
Yeah.
or then the other one who's obsessed with Skittles.
I,
Like,
I did like his reveal where they're like, "We're superheroes," and he goes, "I'm gay," and
I'm gay.
everyone's like,
We
"Yeah,
know.
we know." Moving on. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, we know.
exactly.
It's cool. Not what the issue is right now.
Yeah, which I kind of love that they did that, because they were hinting at it before, like him
Yeah.
being like having the hots for that Major League Baseball player.
Yeah.
Like, but so for me, because you're really only focused on Billy and Freddie, like
Yeah.
the rest are just kind of background characters. So to
Yeah.
me, it's not too many main characters, and I like that we have the 3 villains that are the 3 different sides, the fully evil, the fully good, and the in the middle. And Helen Mirren too just did such a good job, and like at every turn was kind of just making me laugh
Yeah.
in the movie.
She's very good in the movie.
That I didn't mind them. The part that I was, again, and it's not that it was bad at all, but the Rachel Zegler Freddie stuff.
Mm.
I was like,
It's
and
all good.
Freddie, it was, to me, there was moments in it where I was like, this just feels off. It's where it felt like it was placed in when it didn't need to be. And
It's
not
because
that he didn't deserve a love story. And
no.
the thing is, at the very beginning of the movie, it felt perfectly placed in the movie. But then the further it went on, it was just like, this is a
Well,
separate movie than whatever everything else that's going on.
exactly. It doesn't, once they start trying to use that subplot to play into the main plot, it loses something, because
Yeah.
Anthea switches sides so fast.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've known this kid a day. Like,
Yeah.
you're telling me that now suddenly you're ready to abandon all your plans for this one kid that you've known for like 24 hours.
And you've lived 6,000 years.
Yeah. So also a little creepy, but
Look, you
it's
look great for your age.
great for your age. God, I wish. But still, it just is one of those. It's because like that story in and of itself is fine. It just doesn't jive with everything else going on around
Yeah.
it. And as the movie goes on, it becomes more and more central to the plot, and it just doesn't fit. It
Yeah.
either would have fit better if she was a love interest for Billy in some way, because then it still follows with him, and because it is
Mm.
his movie ultimately, or if it just hadn't been there and they had worked. Like I said, I think there's because of how many things this movie's trying to do, it either needed to be longer with just different pacing, or they needed to take some stuff out and just kind of keep it a little more focused. The only other thing I can really think of that was, and again, like we've talked about it a little bit, but like the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman thing, it's not even like her having a cameo is fine, but it honestly feels like such a, oh shit, we don't know how to
bring it back to life. So
yeah,
we're gonna do some comic booky thing.
Yeah,
Because I literally
into a corner. We don't know how to.
I watched it and I was just like, wow, this is so comic book right now.
Oh
like,
yeah,
literally, I was like, this was we killed off this character because it was cool to kill him off and there was no way he was gonna survive, but we gotta bring him back because we still gotta sell comic books. So we're gonna, and I was like, oh, this is so comic book. So in a sense, I was just like, I kind of love it because of how comic book it is, even though it
but it's also
really
one of those
is not deserved.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, this is what people are talking about when they talk about how convenient. When people talk about how convenient comic book writing can be, like, oh yeah, this character died, but whatever, we'll just bring him back and it won't be a big deal. It's like this is kind of an example of that, where I'm like, don't love that. That's kind of what people talk about when they make fun of us, because we don't really know where this place is. They've buried him. We saw it, like, we know that it's kind of the realm or whatever
The realm of the
goddesses were living in, but we don't really know how they got there. I'm assuming it's through one of the doors in the room of
Felt
many
like it was kind of like Olympus.
It was kind of Olympus-y, but also, the hell was Wonder Woman doing there? And how did she know to go? It's one of those, you're raising more questions than you're answering for the sake of a joke. Is it funny? Yes, objectively, it's hilarious. But
you had way more questions out of this than I did. I was just like, this is, I'll go, this is weird. Okay. And then I just accepted it. And it's because you're a DC fan. You're a huge DC fan.
I'm a big
so you're
DC
probably
guy.
like, what the hell is going on? Where me, I was just like,
but
okay.
Here's the thing. I don't know if this was intentional with this movie. This is going to kind of get into the positive stuff, but this movie feels like it could potentially have bigger ramifications for DC going after the reset than people are giving it credit for. Because you got to remember, chapter 1 is gods and monsters.
Yeah.
Because of everything that's happened in 2 Shazam movies, we know that the veil between the gods and the real world is now gone. That's how we're able to presumably have them go to this godly place and have him buried and have the power of the gods bring him back to life and all that. We know that essentially the power of Zeus is in his body, because he makes a really weird incest joke at Wonder Woman. It was funny, but it does raise that question of like, oh shit, did we just accidentally like start building out the stakes of the DC? I don't know if they did or if it's just a happy coincidence, but either way, very clever. And I like that, because it opens those doors without committing to anything. And I know non-committal is kind of a big thing with DC right now, because we don't know what's going to happen.
It's kind of like the way the first phase of the like the MCU was, where they were like, we hope that this is the way things are gonna go, but we're not making any promises. We're just putting little teasers here that then we can reference back to later. And which is the way I like it, where MCU has now become all references instead of doing what they did originally, which made them good. So I feel like James Gunn is bringing that kind of thought process over to DC, although this movie was made before he was announced. But you for sure, he did a pass through.
Oh, sure.
Watching the movie, and especially too, like you said, gods and monsters being his first phase. But there, to this movie, because I feel like Shazam just has that kind of like godly stuff with it. And I haven't read any Shazam comic books, but that's the feel you get from both the first movie and this movie, and that there's a lot of mythology to it. And I was thinking to back to Black Adam and this movie, where Black Adam had godly like stuff too. And I was like, you and I both did not like that movie at all. And the way that they were able to handle gods, which DC is more, even the superheroes are way more godlike than the MCU heroes or the Marvel heroes. So the fact that they were able to have a movie that on the same premise is godlike creatures fucking up the human world, and you have one movie that did not do it well in Black Adam and one movie that did it really well with Shazam Fury of the Gods.
If anything, this movie kind of hammers in more of what I didn't like about Black Adam, which is Black Adam blew its whole load with this Superman cameo at the end. Was it cool? Absolutely. But if you're gonna have Amanda Waller go to Black Adam and say, I'm keeping an eye on you, and I've got people that I can turn to that, you know, that can put up a fight against you. We go to Superman. Now I get the initial desire of wanting to do that.
Yeah.
But Black Adam should have been the inciting reason for her to go to seek out Shazam. Because you got to remember, they're part of the same myth. Like when they're in this, they're in the Stone of Eternity, the Rock of Eternity, and they've all got their thrones. There's one more that no one's sitting in. That's supposed to be Black Adam's.
Yeah.
So the fact that we are now 2 Shazam movies and a Black Adam, so essentially 3 movies within the same mythos and within
3 Jam and Hansu movies.
Yeah, 3 Jaimin Hansu movies, essentially 3 Shazam movies.
Yeah.
As Shazam to transform. It's insane that none of them link to each other. Like Shazam 1 and 2 do, but the fact that Black Adam is an outlier is pretty ridiculous. Because I think with Black Adam, there was an opportunity to use your post-credit scenes to introduce how the hell Shazam is alive.
Yeah.
Never answered. It's never answered whatsoever. And number 2, establish that, like, why is Amanda Waller sending Harcourt and Economos to pick up Shazam? It should have been one line of dialogue saying, well, after what happened in Kahndaq, we needed to find somebody with a comparable power set. Boom! Now they're connected. Now we've done it. That's not it. What I will say is I like that they continue to pop up Harcourt and Economos in these things, showing that is going to kind of be our building through line through how this is going to get connected. I will also say that I'm really curious because Rizwan Manji, who plays the museum tour guide at the beginning, who gets off, was also in Peacemaker as a janitor. And I wonder if it's the same guy, but he got a new job and now he's dead. Because that's going to break my heart, because his back and forth with John Cena Peacemaker was fantastic. All right, Peacemaker, that racist superhero. So this movie did a lot of things right. I thought the CGI was
so good.
Oh, good. There wasn't a ton of action, but what action we got was very well choreographed. The only time I felt a little was when it was Shazam fighting Helen Mirren in that like warehouse. There was a few times the editing felt a little Count Dooku-y because Christopher Lee was so old. They had to edit around the fact that he couldn't play fight very well. And so with Helen Mirren, it felt like there were a few times in the fight they were doing a lot of quick edits to hide the stunt doubles.
I was like, you leave Helen Mirren alone.
No.
I was like beating up on an old woman.
No.
Not you, the movie. I was like,
but I was like, oh, they're having to edit around Helen Mirren. Okay, no, I get what's happening right now. It's fine. I'll let it go. But I cannot stress enough how good the CGI in that dragon was.
Oh my god,
so good.
So good. And the fact too, like, just gonna be burned in my brain, in my retinas, is Lucy Liu riding that dragon, like,
Oh, it's
looking like
great.
a total fucking badass. Yeah.
It's
Honestly, this movie, I know that we talked about the things that we didn't like in it,
yeah,
but Helen Mirren was amazing. Lucy
yes.
Liu was amazing.
Look at her
Um,
playing a bad guy. All right.
right. Um, the thing, even though like we didn't get that much of him, um, Billy Batson kid version
Asher Angel,
is, yeah, Asher Angel.
very good.
What a good kid actor he
All
is.
all these kids are so good. All
Yeah.
these kids are the little
The
girl who plays Darla is
yeah,
adorable.
the storyline is funny. I love that we're seeing another city other than New York get destroyed.
Yeah.
Um,
It's not New York,
we
it's not Gotham, it's not Metropolis. It's
yeah,
Philly. Poor Philly.
Philadelphia, city of brotherly love,
Yeah.
and it's moist. He was like, "Yeah, no, that didn't sound right when it," and just
No.
the humor is there. You have just these moments in this movie where like you're literally laughing out loud at
So
either the stuff that Zachary Levi is saying, and he plays such a good child. Like even though
yeah,
he's 17 years old, like even to me 18, 19, 20-year olds are still children to me.
kids. You're all kids.
You're all children. You little
Get
babies.
a job.
You little
Uh,
babies. So
yeah,
to me, Zachary Levi looks like an adult, but he plays such a child and is perfect as Shazam. And so much of this movie, I was like, yeah, I really like this. And I haven't really looked at people's thoughts on this movie. I know you were saying that some people didn't like the movie, and I'm like,
yeah. There's a lot of
yeah.
people who were like scathingly didn't like this movie, and I'm
And
like,
I was
"You
just
need to
like,
calm down."
this was so much better than Black Adam.
Yeah, but I know
And
we're also in a weird minority on that. I mean, I know the movie didn't
yeah.
do well, but like we really like Adam.
I was like, this is so much better than Black Adam, and this is funny, and the child actors are good, and Helen Mirren is good, and Lucy Liu is good. This movie, it has its flaws,
Yeah,
and we've talked about it, but this is a good movie.
yeah,
It is basically what it's supposed to be, which
yeah,
falls under dumb action movie.
yeah.
Superhero movies are supposed to be dumb action movies, and when they go above the dumb action movies and become these masterful art pieces, then that's when it goes a level above. And some superhero movies have been able to do that. But superhero movies are supposed to be like the Mission Impossibles and the Fast and Furious, and like they're supposed to be dumb, fun, people getting into fights, like explosions. It's supposed to be things of that nature. And I think people hold them to such a higher standard now because we have had some that are really, really incredible and move past that kind of dumb fun. But at the core, these movies are supposed to be dumb fun. And this is dumb fun.
Specifically, Shazam is supposed to be dumb fun. I mean, his
Yeah.
nickname in comics is the Big Red Cheese because Shazam is so campy and so hokey, and so this movie knew what this movie needed to be tonally. Tonally, this movie is straight across the plate. Like
Mwah.
they nailed the tone of this movie so well. Um, and yeah, like I know we spent a lot of time on negatives, but you got to realize a lot of that was all nitpicky stuff. Like ultimately, the good things about this movie vastly outweigh any negative
Yeah.
I might have. I cannot. I said it a lot this, and I cannot stress enough how good the kid actors are when we get to see them.
Yeah.
The parents are fantastic. Grace Curry as Mary is so good. I wish we had a lot more of her with Billy and with Shazam in the
Mhm.
movie. There's a lot of interactions that I think we were just missing out on. Just
Especially too because she's already aged out and is still
yeah,
part of the family. So it would have been good to see her and Billy have more than just that one conversation.
Yeah.
because she speaks about like they no longer get money for me, and in a little while they're not going to get any money for you. And then you find out later in the movie too, Freddie's just a month younger than him, so a month later they're not going to get any money from Freddie either. And so you're not you I feel
Well,
like those conversations could have been more.
because they talk about like, oh, we can barely afford the rent. Oh, we actually bought the house. It's like, I wanted to, where's that story? Like, where's more of that? Because everything
And
we
it could have been just them like signing the papers on
yeah,
like a quick shot.
there were a lot of chances to like develop
Especially like
drama.
if they're flying by, like have them like in the background flying to go save someone while they're at like the place signing the
Yeah.
papers for the house.
Or like the whole thing where he's on the electrician. Yeah, we keep getting struck by lightning for some reason. Like, and then later he's like, "Is this why we keep getting struck by lightning?" Yeah. I also love. I haven't mentioned this yet, but so Jaimin Hansu, who plays Shazam in the movie again, is great as always.
Mhm.
Jaimin Hansu and everything. But what first of all, I loved his glow up at the end for two reasons.
Yes.
One, good suit. Good
Mhm.
suit. But number two, anyone like me who loves the 2005 Constantine movie with Keanu Reeves will remember Jaimin Hansu is in that as Papa Midnight, who's basically this like Louisiana voodoo guy who runs a nightclub, and it's like almost the exact same suit. So it felt like it was just felt like a nice little Easter egg of like, oh, you've worn that suit before. You know. Good for you, buddy.
Can we get a TV series of what he does in the human world, please?
He just like runs
Because that's what he said. He's gonna explore the human world because he's been locked up for too long. So I would like that, please. And the cars outside are great.
Cars outside agree. No, this movie's a lot of fun. Like this movie is a lot. I laughed a lot, and I got excited a lot, and I was like, when he was basically telling him like it's going to be a suicide mission. I was like, no, wait, how is he actually going to get out of this? Like, it's not like a lot of movies where I go, oh, I know what he's going to do to save himself at the end. Like there's a plot device hidden that's like, oh, that's going to come back. Like, you know, he had the coin in his chest all along and the bullet hit the coin. I don't know. It was like, no, I was like, I don't know how he's going to survive. And then when they kill him off for 5 minutes, I was like, no, wait, where do we do now? Was the Wonder Woman scene in the trailer a decoy? Was it not actually in the movie? What are we doing? But then when she shows up, because at no point did it cross my mind, oh, she'll show up and fix this. So when she does, that's when I was kind of like, oh.
Were you thinking that they were going to do a Superman thing where the post-credit has like the it moving where they keep him dead for the movie, and then the post-credit you go to the thing and it's moving a little bit?
I wasn't sure. I genuinely didn't know. I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do, because the idea of Wonder Woman just showing up, grabbing the staff, and going yeah, and him being coming back like Terry style. At no point did any of that cross my mind.
Come through a zombie.
So and I think that's honestly why her cameo bugs me as much, is because it's kind of the Deus Ex Machina of the movie. It's the thing that saves the day, is her just conveniently showing up. I was like, it's lazy.
Wonder Woman saves all.
I know, but I was just like, it's cheap. You guys, you wrote yourselves into a corner and couldn't figure out how to get out of it. Okay, all right, fine. Okay, it's fine. But the dream earlier in the movie where he's on a date with her, flawless, 10 out of 10.
Yes,
it was great. And then
why do my boys like older women?
No comment. The movie's a lot of fun. I really do think everyone should go see it. I think part of the reason this movie is going to struggle is because everybody knows the reset's coming. So, because I mean, my theater wasn't that packed, and I went on a Saturday. The weather was really nice.
My theater wasn't that packed, but it was also 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, see, I went in the evening, so I don't know.
I went at the same time that I found out there is now a church at the movie theater that takes one of the theaters and does.
Theaters are renting out those buildings rent out their theaters for anything to stay above water right now.
Right.
theaters are struggling, but I'll tell you what's not struggling is how much I like this movie. This movie is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Definitely recommend you guys go see it, check it out when you can. And I'm immensely curious as to what's going to happen after the Flash does a reset. Do we keep this? Do we not? I don't know. We'll see. But we enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys have seen it. If you have, let us know down below what you thought of it, or go see it and then come back and tell us. I don't know why you're still here if you haven't seen it yet. We've told you everything that happens. So go see it. Let us know what you think down in the comments, and we'll be back again next time here on another episode of Off the Wall.